Well, good morning, everybody. So Jesus comes down off the cross. He's taken down off the cross, and we carry him to the tomb. And so, what does that mean for us? How can we look at this event, this part of the process, and own just a little piece of that for ourselves? How many of us have been in our own dark place where we have felt as if we were completely sealed in, blocked in, trapped in such a dark space that we really didn't see a way out? We felt helpless, felt powerless, it felt so wrapped up by circumstances that we were unable to move. I know I have. And I see a lot of nodding heads here in the space. And I'm sure a lot of you out there watching on the internet have felt the same way. And so, what do we do with that? What can I possibly do if I feel that blocked in, that trapped, that wound up by circumstances? I know for myself that the greatest challenges I have faced in my life, I have simply had to just surrender and say, you know what? I don't know what the answer is. I know I want to be better. I know I want to do better. I know I want to experience better. I know that there's a greater something, some piece of me that is better than this circumstance. So I have to become willing to just let it all go. The thing that we teach, the technique that we teach, like Reverend Joe was talking about, we have a class coming up, the art and science of spiritual mind treatment. This is our tool. This is one of our fundamental tools that we use to effect change in our lives. We turn within and we recognize that there's a power and presence greater than we are, number one, that we can use, number two, that moves in us, through us, around us, as each and every one of us, in each and every moment, with every breath we take, with every thought we think, with every action we do. It is in activity, not inactivity, it is in activity in our lives. And we come to a place of gratitude for knowing that change is occurring, that change has already happened. We speak our word and say, you know what? This is a reality. This is the truth I know about me. That I am whole, complete, and perfect in every way. That divine order rules everything in my life. That there's a greater idea of me in my life taking place, coming into manifestation in my world now. Because, as Jesus taught us, it is done unto us as we believe. And spiritual mind treatment, as we teach it, is the way we come into that belief. And we find gratitude in that position. And then we let go and we get out of our own damn way and look for these steps forward as they appear and take those steps forward as they appear in faith. Jesus knew all this. And when he went into that dark space, when his physical being was carried into that dark space, as an example for us, and remember, friends, Jesus never claimed to be an exception. He showed up as an example for us. And in this example, I believe he is showing us that we move into these dark places as a point of retreat, as a time of renewal, as a time where we are stepping back to say, okay, I need to regroup. I need to be still. I need to allow myself a moment to, as he did, shed everything that has gone before so that I can reveal what I truly am. So I can step into a place in my own being and my own expression where a sure sense of divinity finds its way into my life as me. Not only so that I can feel it as me, but so I can see it in everything around me. Marianne Williamson, I love this quote by Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. How many of you, I'm going to fess up because I've been to this place. How many of you have felt so comfortable in misery? Yeah. Comfortable in my own discomfort. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to ride it out. I'm done trying. I'm done pushing. I'm done the growth thing, the whole personal growth, spiritual growth thing. I'm tired. I'm over it. Man, it's just too much damn work. I know. See, I knew there was more than just a couple of you. It's okay. Sometimes my humanity, gets in the way of my divinity. Right? Because we want to hold on. We want to be comfortable. It's like, I've got this rhythm, my life's cruising along. Yeah, and maybe I've got this complaint about this, and maybe I don't, the dishes aren't getting done in a timely fashion, or the laundry's not getting done, or the car's acting up. That's all right. Not sleeping so good. That's okay. The committee's engaging a lot, but I've just learned to ignore it. But sometimes it's that divine discontent. Somebody will come along and I'll hit that dark place and I'll be like, okay, time to plant some seeds. Time to get some newness going on. Right? And I plant one seed and I plant another because these seeds are planted in those dark moments. We say it's time for things to change. It's time to let go of everything that has gone before. It's time to start employing, one of my favorite phrases that, you know what, up until now, this has been the case. However, going forward, something new is going to unfold. Now it's time for Jennifer's next song.
Bring it on, everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through crying, I'm through waiting, I'm through hoping against all hope. I'm through longing for something gone that'll never return. I think I've finally learned, so bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through grieving, I'm through dreaming that the life I had is ever coming back. No more wishing on someone else's star that'll never be mine. I think it's time, so bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. And I've survived many times before, broken hearts and slamming doors. I'll be alright, yes I will once more. Just as I did back then, I'm gonna rise again. So bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Whoa, I know it's gonna be everything new. So bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Whoa, I know it's gonna be everything new. Yes, I know it's gonna be everything new. Thank you. Sung by Daniel Namod. If you're ever looking for something, just makes you get there.
Thank you, Jennifer. Everything new. Springtime. Everything's blooming. The trees have filled in overnight, it seems. Flowers blooming everywhere. Baby animals and birds everywhere. Yeah, it's everything new. And the Easter theme, there's a sense of newness about this time of year. And today we're completing our forgiveness series. We've been talking about forgiveness all month long. You've had 4 Sundays of it. Today makes number 5. And we are delighted that you have been here to share this with us. My talk today is the resurrection. And does this have meaning for us today, some 2,000 years after it was reported? What happened between Friday afternoon and Sunday morning when the women came to the tomb to find it empty? What happened? Did Laura Croft suddenly show up and snatch the body? That's Lee's theory. I think there might be something a little more mystical going on there in this story for us. According to the stories, and there's several in the Bible, after they discovered that the body was missing, Jesus appeared to the women and to the disciples to prove to them that he had risen, to prove it to them. The story tells us that the Christ transcended death, demonstrating the upward spiral of consciousness, overcoming our biggest fear, death. The stories of Jesus' life and the resurrection of the Christ are examples of the way that life works by always expanding and evolving. Ernest Holmes was the founder of Religious Science, the Centers for Spiritual Living, and the Science of Mind text. He wrote that, and that's what we teach from our philosophy. And he tells us the spiral of life is upward. Evolution carries us forward, not backward. Eternal and progressive expansion is its law, and there are no breaks in its continuity. Our evolution is the result of an unfolding consciousness of that which already is and needs but to be realized to become a fact of everyday life. That's what Reverend Lee was talking about with our spiritual mind treatment. The realization stage is for the step is for that point, is to realize so that we can then begin to experience that which we are treating for. Now, Jesus realized this truth and demonstrated his continuing expansion of consciousness by transcending death. And we do too. All of our lives is a series of transcending and evolving upward, progressively unfolding of our own consciousness, because we transcend experiences, yes? Lee was talking about those dark times. We transcend those. We overcome them. We overcome the challenges. And we learn and we grow in our understanding of life. Do you know more today than you did 15 years ago? Right? We've evolved. We've all evolved. Many of us of a certain age have made comments about, in my mind, I still feel like I'm 25, 30 years old, but I look in the mirror and who's that old person looking back at me? Anybody? Yeah. Yeah. Well, the next time that happens, I invite you to recognize that thinker that's thinking that is the real you. That is the consciousness of you. And also realize that this body form, in whatever form it looks back at us from that mirror, is simply the vehicle that transports this consciousness in this time-space reality. When we die, when we lay down this human body, we don't know what the next body will be. It may be the same. It may be what we've always idealized this one to be, that maybe it hasn't been in this life experience. Who knows? One of our ministers used to say, I think I'm going to be a dust bunny on Venus. Who knows what vehicle will transport our consciousness next? So in Jesus' case, he no longer needed his body. He left it on the cross, right? We saw that in our video. Done, gone, body's, there's no life left in that body. Took it into the tomb. The only reason that he appeared in bodily form to the disciples was so that they would believe that he had risen. Imagine if he just whispered to them from the ethers or communicated telepathically only. That story would have gotten chopped on the editing room floor, wouldn't it? It would have never made it 2,000 years. So he had to appear in form in the story in order for it to be a miracle, believable, right? And fulfill prophecy. So this upward spiral of life that we talk about means we continue to learn and grow in awareness from our very first breath until our last one on this planet. With that first inhale, as we come out of the womb in whatever way we do, we become aware of our physical surroundings. We become aware of that. Light, dark, sense. We're fascinated by our body parts and our bodily functions. Wow! Right? You've watched babies find their hands and things. It's fascinating. We feel and sense our bodies. And as our bodies grow, so does our awareness. It's said at the age of 3, we have a memory, and we begin to put together those if-then things. If I do this, mom does that. If I do this, dad does this. Right? We begin to put that together, our awareness. It's our human evolution. Some of us continue to grow. Some of us begin to stagnate. Somewhere on that spectrum, right? We no longer choose to learn and evolve. But none of us are going to ever arrive at a spiritual destination where we've got it all. I got it all. I don't need to learn anymore. We just don't arrive in that place. Sometimes I would like to think I'm done. But life keeps moving forward, doesn't it? Life keeps moving forward. Have you ever noticed that when you attain a goal in life, that there's only a brief moment of celebration of that until you start looking for the next thing? Our accomplishments become the point of beginning for the next accomplishment, for that evolutionary phase. I had a friend who always wanted a cabin in Durango, Colorado. That was the big dream. When I get enough money, I'm going to buy a cabin in Durango, Colorado. Years went on. Finally, one day, he bought a cabin in Durango. Very excited. But it didn't take long for the conversation to be, you know, that was great, but I don't feel like I have a goal right now. And then the next thing was, I need a bigger cabin. I want to entertain friends and family, and yeah, I need a bigger cabin. So that then became the dream. So the little cabin was the launching spot for the basis for the next dream of the big cabin. Life is an eternal upward spiral of existence for us. And we, mean life, are part of that ever expanding spiral. Holmes said our individualized universe is forever complete, yet forever completing itself. In order that every experience may teach us to transcend some previous one in ever ascending cycles, always upward bound. And this is where we are at choice, isn't it? As Esther Hicks says, do I take the expansion? Do I take the expansion? Are we learning and transcending in that upward cycle, or are we staying stuck in pain and unforgiveness? When we hold on to old memories and past hurts and conditions, and we remain rigid in our unforgiveness, we're not taking that expansion in consciousness. We're stuck. When we do that, we flatten that spiral. We flatten that spiral into a circle. And our life can become much like water circling a drain because we're stuck. We're no longer spiraling upward. This month, we've provided you with tools for the spiritual practice of forgiveness so that we can all continue our evolution, continue our cycle of ascension, our cycle of expansion, rather than staying stuck in the past. The resurrection can be interpreted as a metaphor. It's a metaphor for our own personal growth and spiritual awakening. The tomb represents the potential for inner renewal and transcendence. It's where we go within. It's where we go within and experience that inner transformation. We release those old patterns and limitations. It's where we do our spiritual work. It's where we're born again. It's changing from the inside out, being born new, releasing the unforgiveness, releasing the limitations, releasing those things that have held us back from the greatest expression of ourselves that we can be, our spiritual magnificence. We can choose to roll away that stone of unforgiveness anytime and embrace that higher state of consciousness and that higher state of awareness and take that upward spiral to the next level of our own personal unfoldment. When we study and practice the principles of the science of mind, that acts as a blueprint for our lives, for our own spiritual awakening, and ultimately our own resurrection and releasing of all limitations. So if you would like to learn more about these principles, take them home with you. Reverend and I send out a weekly newsletter called Mindful Monday, and it's a recap of our talks and the spiritual practice that we give you for each week. You can sign up with the QR code in the lobby or send me an email. We'll get you on the list. So this week's spiritual practice is forgive. Forgive. If there's any unforgiveness in your heart, no matter how new, how ancient, how bad they were, how painful the memories, this week, Reverend Lee and I invite you to forgive, to let go, and to free yourself. To free yourself. Take the expansion in consciousness. Rise in your own resurrection. Look at it with fresh eyes, shift your perspective of the story, and roll away the stone of unforgiveness and embrace your higher self. Allow yourself to take that upward spiral journey. This week, let's forgive it all. Let's forgive it all. So it is. Would you join me in prayer? As we immerse ourselves in these powerful stories of the life of Jesus and the resurrection of the Christ, and the power of these stories as we've seen unfold over this month, and the recognition that forgiveness is truly for us and ever available to us. And it's not that we need God's forgiveness for anything, because God doesn't see any of the things that we see that we get wound up about. God is infinite. God is wisdom and intelligence beyond recognizing anything outside of itself. It is harmony, balance, peace, wholeness. It is the love that loves so much that there's nothing but love. And so being created of that love, we are here to love and to express life more fully as us, as God expresses through us as our lives, individualized and unique, ever expanding, evolving, and growing. So today I speak my word for and about us, knowing that if there is unforgiveness, that this is the day that we choose to step into our own wholeness, our own love, and release it. Let it be. It's not about condoning what happened. It's simply about freeing ourselves to the greater expression of the life that we have all come here to express, to experience. It's time to free that energy for creation, for expansion, for joy, for love and peace. So I know for anyone that has anything on their heart this day, whether it is forgiveness, trying to figure out how to forgive, whether it's healing, expansion, creativity, whatever it might be, we collectively as this community lift that into our prayer, holding the light, holding the high watch for them, and just knowing the absolute perfect unfoldment, complete manifestation, divine right action and order in, through, and as whatever it is, and knowing that it unfolds perfectly. So it is with a grateful heart filled with thanksgiving for the manifestation of this prayer, for the prayer itself, and for each and every one here right now. I release it into the action of law, knowing that it is done and it is so. And we affirm this truth together by saying, and so it is.